of 6th grade primary school. That's our weekly time for science, and today we will start a new unit of our syllabus this semester, which is unit 3, which deal with solar eclipse and lunar eclipse and also space exploration. So this unit deal with space, especially the two phenomena which are solar eclipse كسوف الشمس and lunar eclipse أو خسوف القمر. So today we'll start this unit 3 and lesson 1 of unit 3, which deal with solar eclipse. So what's meant by solar eclipse؟ يعني ايه كسوف الشمس؟ What's meant by this phenomena؟ هو ده اللي ان شاء الله نعرفه النهارده. And what are the reasons of occurring this phenomenon؟ ايه اسباب الظاهرة ديت؟ ان شاء الله we will know all things and it will be a very interesting lesson today. So let's start with many information we have studied in primary 5, such as what happened to light when it travels in space and travels in medium. So we know that we have many information about that. Huge trees make shadow. Huge trees make shadow because they hide some sun rays. الأشجار الضخمة بتعمل shadow، بتعمل ظل لأنها بتخبي أشعة الشمس. Okay. So what is the reason of the shadow؟ إيه هو سبب الشادو؟ So the huge trees make shadow because they hide some sun rays. لأن الأشجار الضخمة بتحجز ضوء الشمس او بتعمل بلوك لضوء الشمس، فهو ده سبب الشادو. Okay. So another information, sun emits heat and light every morning. You know this very well. And also sun rays travel in a straight line. Sun rays travel in a straight line. And also Earth rotates around the sun in oval elliptical orbit. Earth rotates around the sun in oval elliptical orbit. الأرض بتدور حوالين الشمس في مدار بيضاوي. And we know that all planets, not Earth itself only, all planets revolve around the sun in elliptical orbit or oval orbit, مدار بيضاوي. And also moon rotates around the Earth in smaller oval orbit. كمان القمر بيدور حوالين الأرض في مدار برضه شبه بيضاوي. And also, so when does solar eclipse happen and when does it occur؟ امتى بيحصل solar eclipse؟ When the moon comes between the earth and the sun on the same straight line. ده أول شرط للإكليبس. عشان يحصل solar eclipse في شرطين. أول شرط first condition when the moon comes between the earth and the sun. أول شرط المون يكون بين السان والأرث. And the second condition الشرط الثاني on the same straight line، على نفس الخط الرئيسي بينهم أو نفس الخط المستقيم الواصل بين الأرث والسن. Okay. So I have a very interesting activity in this lesson. You can do this activity at your home by yourself. You will bring a plate، نجيب حاجة يعني circular مستديرة شوية شبه طبق تقريبا، and also a source of light. Source of light like a candle, like a torch, like a mobile with a torch، أي حاجة فيها مصدر إضاءة. And close or switch off the light، هاتي كل الأضواء، and you can direct the source of light to the plate. What happened on the wall؟ You will see on the wall a dark circle، دايرة مظلمة تماما، which is called هنسميها umbra. يبقى هنا هيكون منطقة بنسميها umbra أو الظل. طب لو في two source of light مصدرين للضوء like this experiment. Okay. ناخد definition للأمبرا. umbra أو كون umbra بنسميها it's a dark inner shadow in which the total solar eclipse appeared. طب يعني ايه معنى الكلام دوت؟ خلينا كده نرسم مع بعض، نتخيل مع بعض why solar eclipse happen، ليه بيحصل solar eclipse. تخيل ان انا عندي source of light like this and a plate like this. We know that light travels in a straight line. Okay. So here on the wall I will have a very shaded area, a very dark area which is called umbra. منطقة بنسميها umbra. يبقى لو في مصدر واحد للضوء هيكون منطقة واحدة بنسميها umbra. طب if there are two sources of light، لو في مصدرين للضوء what will happen؟ نفس الكلام. لو في two sources of light، okay, circle and the wall، I will have area which is called umbra in the middle. I will have a very dark area which is called umbra، دي هنسميها umbra, and it will be very dark. And another two areas في منطقتين تانيين هما اللي على الأجناب هنا أو على الأطراف هنسميهم بين umbra. experiment سهلة جدا ممكن نعملها في البيت عشان نعرف what's meant by umbra and what's meant by pin umbra. Again, what's meant by umbra? Umbra is a dark inner shadow area. Is a dark inner shadow area in which اللي بيحصل فيها ظاهرة هنسميها total solar eclipse. But what's meant by pin umbra? It's a faint outer shadow area in which the partial solar eclipse appears. بيحصل فيها ظاهرة بنسميها partial solar eclipse. Again أنا عندي 2 definition مهمين جدا، أو 2 areas أو 2 definitions، أو بمعنى أدق هم 3 areas بس هم 2 types. umbra هي منطقة الظل، penumbra هي منطقة شبه الظل. umbra أعتقد الكلمة واضحة قوي إنها مشتقة من umbrella يعني الشمسية. umbra what's meant by umbra أو umbral cone، ساعات بنسميها كمان umbral cone مخروط الظل. It's an area or it's a very dark area in which the total solar eclipse appears. So what's meant by penumbra? It's a faint outer shadow. It's a faint outer shadow area يعني هي منطقة مش مظلمة قوي in which the partial solar eclipse appears. تاني يعني ايه cone umbra أو umbra؟ It's a dark inner shadow in which the total solar eclipse appears. So what's meant by penumbra? The penumbra is a faint outer shadow in which the partial solar eclipse appears. يبقى عندنا منطقتين او هما 3 areas 3 مناطق لكن هما 2 types. في منطقة بنسميها umbra ومنطقتين بنسميهم penumbra. So, but if the moon rotates on a higher orbit than the earth because its orbit is oval هنا يكون منطقة ثالثة خالص هنسميها unumbra. طب نوصل لها ازاي ديت؟ نرسم تاني مع بعض عشان نشوف ازاي نوصل للمرحلة الثالثة او المنطقة الثالثة اللي سميناها unumbra. يبقى عندنا umbra penumbra وفي حالة خاصة in special case في حاجة اسمها unumbra. هتخيل برضو عندي two source of light like this and the same plate but here in a higher orbit يعني مكان أقرب للستان يعني هيقرب من source of light الحالة ديت and light traveling in straight line as we know. Okay, here I have what? I have umbra. This area is called umbra. And the other 2 areas, penumbra. What about this area, the extension of the shadow? دي هنسميها unumbra. هنا ظهر لنا منطقة جديدة سميناها unumbra. So what's meant by unumbra? It is the extension of the umbral cone or the extension of the umbra. يعني لو الأمبرا أو منطقة الأمبرا منطقة الظل الأمبرال كون حصل لها امتداد عملنا extension ليها هيكون منطقة بنسميها unumbra. كم منطقة بنسميها unumbra. So I have here 3 types of areas with 4 areas يعني هم 4 مناطق لكن هم 3 أنواع بس umbra وpenumbra وunumbra. umbra وpenumbra وunumbra. تاني نرسم مع بعض الاكتيفيتي انه مهم جدا ازاي بتخيل او ازاي بيحصل solar eclipse بكل انواعه سواء كان total, partial and annular. I have 2 sources of light like this, 2 sources of light مصدرين ضوء. Okay, and a plate and the wall. What happened to the light? Light travel in a straight line as we know. Light travel in a straight line, so it will make a shadow area on the wall. And will travel in straight line like this. So here I have a very shaded area منطقة مظلمة جدا in the middle بنسميها umbra and a semi shaded 2 areas which are called penumbra. So now I have a very important question. What are the 2 sources of light representing? They represent the sun. What did the plate represent? It represents the moon. What the wall represent? It represents the earth. So here is 2 areas which are umbra, penumbra, and if the moon rotates in a higher orbit to the sun يعني لو المون قرب كده في الاتجاه دوت ناحية الشمس I will have another area which is called unumbra. نرسم تاني مع بعض. When the moon comes in a higher orbit than the earth to the sun يعني لو المون قرب للsun أكتر من earth. Okay, I have another 2 sources of light and here is the moon. Okay, here is the wall. Light travel straight line as we know. I have the umbra area here هنا منطقة الأمبرا and the penumbra. They are 2 the penumbra's areas. Penumbra. Okay, and another or a new area which is very similar to the umbra which is called unumbra. المنطقة دي هنسميها unumbra يعني امتداد مخروط الظل او امتداد الظل او الظل السلبي ساعات كمان بيسموها negative shadow. So I have 4 areas here, umbra and penumbra with 2 faces or with 2 types and at last unumbra. So what's meant by umbra? As I said, umbra is a dark inner shadow area in which the total eclipse appears is a dark inner shadow area in which the total solar eclipse appears. And what's meant by penumbra? Penumbra is a dark faint outer shadow in which the partial solar eclipse appears. So here, if the moon rotates in a higher orbit than the Earth, it will become in an orbit higher to the Earth, and it will cause antumbra area اللي احنا شايفينها دلوقتي على الشاشة. دي منطقة بنسميها antumbra وده الأمبرا ودول البينumbra. So what will we have? We will have three types of areas which are umbra, penumbra, and antumbra. So what happened when solar eclipse appears, or what are the reasons of solar eclipse? This image will illustrate or will explain what happened. If the moon comes between the sun and the earth, لو المون جه في النص بين الsun والearth, it will hide the sunlight. هو هيخبي ضوء الشمس. So we will not see the sunlight completely in some cases. ساعتها مش هنشوف الشمس تماما. And in the morning it will be like the night. ساعتها كمان هيكون في الصباح تقريبا يعني مظلم تماما زي الليل. So it will be called هنسميها solar eclipse أو كسوف الشمس، كأن الشمس اتكسفت أو اتدارت أو استخبت ورا المون. So what are the reasons of solar eclipse? We have two reasons, or we have two conditions. شرطين بس. First condition is that the moon comes between the sun and the earth. Second condition is that the moon, the sun, and the earth are all on the same straight line. لازم يكون الsun والmoon والearth on the same straight line. Okay? So I have here two areas or two type of areas which are umbra and penumbra. In the area of umbra I will not see the sun completely. مش هنشوف الشمس تماما. يعني لو في حد عايش في المكان ده على الearth عند منطقة الأمبرا وبص للشمس وقت دوت, we will not see anything of the light of the sunlight, because the moon hides completely the sun. So we will not see anything of sunlight. So it will be called هنسميها total solar eclipse. يبقى لو في حد عايش في منطقة الأمبرا مش هيشوف أي حاجة من ضوء الشمس, عشان كده هنسميها total solar eclipse. But what happened in the other two areas of penumbra, منطقة البينumbra, I will see a part of the sun. هنشوف جزء بس من الشمس. So it will be called هنسميها partial solar eclipse أو كسوف شمس جزئي. So what's meant by solar eclipse? عايزين نعمل definition للsolar eclipse. It's an astronomical phenomenon, هي ظاهرة فلكية, which occurs when the earth, the moon, the sun are nearly on the straight line with the moon in the middle, casting its shadow on the earth and hiding the sunlight. هنا حققنا two conditions او الشرطين بتوعنا عشان يبقى فيه solar eclipse. What's meant by solar eclipse? definition شكله يبان طويل شويه, لكن احنا بنحب قوي الطالب الكرييتيف في الساينس اللي ممكن يعمل definition with his own mind, بتفكيره هو الشخصي او باختراعه هو الشخصي يعني. So we can say that solar eclipse is an astronomical phenomena, هي ظاهرة فلكية, where the sun, the moon, and the earth are all on a straight line with the moon in the middle. ممكن أقف لغاية هنا. definition سهل جدا وصح جدا في نفس الوقت. Again, what's meant by solar eclipse is an astronomical phenomenon where or which occurs when the earth, the moon, and the sun are nearly on the same straight line with the moon in the middle. يبقى شرط مهم جدا يكون المون in the middle between the sun and the earth, and also all the three bodies or the three celestial bodies, الثلاث أجسام الفضائية, الsun والmoon والearth are all on a straight line. Okay, so it's a very easy and interesting phenomena. We can do its activity at home. So what are the cases of solar eclipse? In case one, when the moon comes between the sun and the earth, nearer to the earth. الحالة الأولانية لما كان المون أقرب للأرض, it blocks the sunlight, هو بيحجز ضوء الشمس totally from a part of the earth's surface, من جزء من سطح الأرض, as the moon appear equal in size to the sun, forming total solar eclipse. ده بيعمل حاجة بنسميها أو ظاهرة بنسميها total solar eclipse. So and partially from another parts of the earth's surface, forming partial solar eclipse. يبقى لو المون حجز ضوء الشمس تماما هنسميه total solar eclipse. لو حجز جزء من ضوء الشمس هنسميه partial solar eclipse. So in case 2, what happened when the moon rotates farther to the earth or farther than the earth and becomes between the sun and the earth, it causes the annular solar eclipse. نوع بنسميه annular أو كسوف الشمس الحلقي, as the moon appears smaller than the sun and also causes a partial solar eclipse. So, shadow is formed when an opaque object blocks a part of the sunlight or incoming light, as we said at the first of this episode. قلنا في أول حلقة ليه بيتكون shadow؟ Because an opaque object جسم مظلم أو جسم معتم blocks a part of the incoming light، بيحجب ضوء الشمس. And also this phenomena happen when our moon blocks a part of the sunlight from the earth and casts its shadow on the earth's surface. This phenomena is called solar eclipse. ظاهرة بنسميها solar eclipse. قلنا ليها two conditions. When the moon comes between sun and the earth, that's the first condition، ده الشرط الأول. And second condition الشرط الثاني when the sun, the earth and the moon are all on the same straight line or on the same straight line. And also we know Earth rotates around the sun in oval orbit مدار بيضاوي. And also sometimes the moon appears at the earth larger and other times smaller. This is due to the rotation around the earth in oval orbit. So sometimes moon comes between the sun and the earth, preventing the sunlight from reaching the earth. So what are the types of eclipse? As I said before, it's a very interesting phenomena and very dangerous phenomena at the same time. هي ظاهرة مهمة جدا وشيقة جدا لكن خطر جدا في نفس الوقت. We must take care of this phenomena if it happens. Okay? So what are the type of eclipses? Let me draw again the mechanism of solar eclipse, and to know how or what are the types of solar eclipse we will study this year. Okay? So imagine that there is the sun here, like the two sources of light, and there is the moon in between the sun and the earth, and here is the earth. What happened to the sunlight? It will travel in a straight line, as I said. ضوء الشمس بيمشي في خط مستقيم. Okay? Here it will travel in a straight line, and also straight line here. So here I have three areas which are area number 1, which is umbra, and the area number 2 and number 3 at the same time, which are called penumbra. Okay, penumbra. So what happens if there is a person here? لو في شخص واقف على الأرض in this place في المكان ده, he will not see anything of the sun. Why? Because the moon blocks all the sunlight. لأن المون بيحجب ضوء الشمس تماما. So we will call it, هنسمي ده total solar eclipse. So can we make a definition for this phenomenon? ممكن نعمل definition للtotal eclipse. Yes, we can say that it's a type of eclipse. هو نوع من eclipse which occur in the area of the umbra of the moon, and we cannot see anything of the sun in this case. هنا أقدر أعمل definition بمنتهى السهولة. بقول هو بيحصل فين وأنا بشوف إيه. What's meant by total solar eclipse? It's a type of eclipse where the moon which we can't see the sun completely, and it's formed in the shadow area or the umbra area of the moon about 250 kilometer radius. يعني مش مشكلة قوي اللينس بالضبط، لكن لازم أعرف أنه بيحصل في ال area of the umbra أو umbra of the moon. So what about the partial eclipse? What about the partial eclipse? I have here a picture for the total solar eclipse. هنا أنا مش شايف الشمس تماما لأن هو اللي مغطيها البلاك ديسك ده، القرص الأسود، هو ده المون which covers nearly all the sun. تقريبا معظم حجم الشمس تماما. So what about the partial solar eclipse? It's a type of solar eclipse. هو نوع من الeclipse which appears or which we can see a part of the sun. بنشوف تقريبا جزء بس من الsun, and is formed in the semi-shaded area أو penumbra. ممكن نسميها penumbra زي ما اتفقنا، أو semi-shaded area of the moon. طب نشوف image كمان للpartial. Here I can see a part only of the sun. Why? Because the moon covers a part of the sun. هنا فين المون؟ المون هو اللي بيغطي الجزء القط أو المقطوع ده من الشمس. Here is the partial solar eclipse. Here is the partial solar eclipse. So we can make a definition for partial solar eclipse. It's a type of solar eclipse in which we can see a part of the sun and is formed in the semi-shaded area or the penumbra area of the moon. And this is a picture of the partial solar eclipse. Okay? And another picture of the partial solar eclipse. Here I can see a part of the sun. هنا ممكن الناس تخدع ونفتكر دي صورة القمر. لا. This is a picture of the sun where partial solar eclipse appears. بيحصل فيها ظاهرة بنسميها partial solar eclipse. Okay? So what's the other type or the third type of eclipse? it's called the annular solar eclipse. بنسميه كسوف شمس حلقي. What's meant by annular? It means like the ring, شبه الحلقة. So where it happen or where does it happen and why does it happen? Because the moon comes nearer to the sun near the earth. يعني المون بيقرب في مدار أعلى شوية، بيقرب للشمس أكتر منه للأرض. It will form the third area, المنطقة الثالثة اللي سميناها antumbra. So we can make a definition easily for this type of eclipse. It's a type of eclipse where it occurs in the antumbra area of the moon and we can see the lighted ring only of the sun. بشوف بس حلقة منورة من الشمس. Again, this is the definition of the annular solar eclipse. It's a type of solar eclipse where or in which the sun appears as a lighted ring. الشمس بتبان كأنها حلقة مضيئة. And it's formed when the moon is in a higher orbit from the earth. So its cone shadow doesn't reach the earth. Its cone shadow doesn't reach the earth. المفروض الظل مش هيوصل الأرض لكن بيكون extensions بنسميه antumbra. يعني هيحصل في منطقة الانتمبرا. So let me draw again the area of antumbra. نرسم مع بعض من تاني منطقة الانتمبرا. تخيل مع بعض أنا عندي ال sun with the moon in the middle, with the moon here in the middle, but nearer to the earth, to the sun, أقرب للشمس. And here is the earth. Okay, we know that sunlight travels in a straight line like this. Sunlight travels in a straight line. Where is the umbra? Umbra here. منطقة الأمبرا أو منطقة الظل. Umbra. Where is the penumbra? Penumbra here. Penumbra here. So what about this third area? المنطقة الثالثة اللي سميناها extension of the umbra. تقريبا هي فعلا extension للامتداد للأمبرا. سميناها antumbra. سميناها antumbra. So in the area of antumbra we will see a lighted ring of the moon or a lighted ring of the sun. Imagine that the moon try to cover the sun. moon بيحاول يغطي ضوء الشمس تماما لكن هو عشان أصغر منها مش بيغطيها كلها. So in this area we will see the lighted ring of the sun only. بنشوف تقريبا قرص مضيء بس من الشمس أو الدائرة المضيئة بس around the sun. Why? Because the moon covers almost or nearly the size of the sun. So we can say that the annular solar eclipse is a type of eclipse where it occurs in the antumbra area of the moon and we can see only the lighted ring of the sun. We can see only the lighted ring of the sun. So we have a definition for this interesting phenomena which is called annular solar eclipse. It's a type of solar eclipse in which we can see the lighted ring only of the sun and also it occurs in the area of antumbra of the moon. So I have a picture for this phenomena. I have an image for this phenomena. صورة مهمة جدا. Here I can see the image only of the lighted ring of the sun. الحلقة المضيئة بس من الشمس. Why? Because the moon covers almost or nearly all the disk of the sun. Because the moon covers almost or nearly all the disk of sun. Here another picture of the third type, النوع الثالث سميناه annular solar eclipse, because the moon covers almost or nearly all the sun, so we can see only the lighted ring of the sun. Here I have a picture for all the images of eclipses by its type. عندنا أكتر من نوع الeclipse. We have total, partial and annular. In total eclipse we cannot see the sun completely. بشوف الشمس تماما like this case in the middle, like this case in the middle. But in the partial I can see only a part of the sun but with different degrees. بشوف أجزاء من الشمس لكن بدرجات متفاوتة أو مختلفة. Okay? So let's make a comparison between total eclipse and annular eclipse. Shape of the sun. The sun disappears completely. تختفي تماما in the total eclipse and appears as a lighted ring in the annular eclipse. تظهر كأنها حلقة مضيئة في الانيولار أو النوع الحلقي لكن في التوتال it disappears completely. Another point of comparison. Position of the moon, مكان القمر. In the total eclipse it will be nearer to the earth but in the annular eclipse it will be farther from the earth. It will be farther from the earth. يكون أبعد من الشمس. Okay? So what about the type of shadow in which it appears? The total eclipse appears in the area of the umbra but the annular eclipse appears in the area of antumbra. So what about the partial? البارشال بيحصل فين؟ اتفقنا انه بيحصل في منطقة سميناها penumbra أو منطقتين سميناهم penumbra. So safety precautions on observing the solar eclipse. I said before أنا قلت قبل كده it's a very interesting phenomena. هي ظاهرة شيقة جدا but it's a very dangerous phenomena at the same time. هي ظاهرة خطرة جدا في نفس الوقت. Why? Because in this phenomena sun emits very harmful radiation such as infrared radiation and ultraviolet radiation. So we must take care. لازم اخد بالي كويس قوي if this phenomena occurs in some day. لو حصلت في يوم من الأيام we must take care. We mustn't look directly at the sun. ما ينفعش خالص أبص للشمس مباشرة. I must wear special glasses. ألبس نظارة خاصة which is used in 3D dimension films اللي بستخدمها في أفلام ال 3D أكيد كلكم عارفينها كويس قوي but not sunglasses, not eyeglasses, not any glass. I will use only special glasses. Why? Because it's a very dangerous phenomenon. It will lead ممكن تؤدي إلى blindness of the eye عمى العين أو فقدان البصر or losing the vision or losing the sight. So we must take care. This phenomena is very dangerous. We must avoid the losing of sight by this phenomena by wearing special glasses to protect our eyes from those harmful radiation which are infrared radiation and ultraviolet radiation. So let's have a very important advice in this lesson. Outer solar corona keeps on emitting يعني الهالة المحيطة بالشمس بترسل أشعة ضارة جدا بنسميها ultraviolet أو infrared UV أو IR as we know, and this rays will make very bad disease. ممكن تعمل مرض خطير جدا to the eye which affect on the retina of the eye. بتأثر على حاجة اسمها شبكية العين that will lose the sight. ممكن تفقدنا البصر. So we must use special glasses to protect us from harmful rays such as ultraviolet rays or UV rays, infrared rays, and affect the retina of the eye. These rays may cause blindness. ممكن تسبب لا قدر الله عمى to the eye within few seconds. خلال ثواني قليلة. يبقى الموضوع مش هزار أو مش محتاج إن احنا نجرب فيه. لا الموضوع very very dangerous and very serious at the same time. So we mustn't look at the sun directly at the case of eclipse. Okay? So let's have the last point in this lesson today, and after that we will see a short video or about 2 short videos about for this interesting phenomena. How can we detect the or calculate the solar eclipse occurrence or appearance at the same time every period of time? By calculating the rotation of the moon and the earth in their orbits around sun. لو حسبنا دوران الأرض حوالين الشمس ودوران القمر حوالين الأرض, the time needed to occur here in Egypt is 21 years and 5 months. بيحصل تقريبا eclipse في مصر كل 21 سنة و5 شهور. So the time needed to occur here in Egypt is 21 years and 5 months. And solar eclipse doesn't last for more than 7 minutes and 4 seconds. هو لو حصل ما بيستمرش أكتر من 7 دقايق و40 ثانية. So it may be less than 8 minutes. It may be less than a minute and maybe 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Doesn't last for more than that. Okay, so I have a very important give reason before we will see the short video about the solar eclipse. First give reason says that moon blocks sunlight. Moon blocks sunlight from reaching the earth when it comes between the sun and the earth. Why? Why moon blocks sunlight? Surely because moon is an opaque body or dark body that doesn't allow light to pass through. Because moon is an opaque body or dark body that doesn't allow light to pass through. Okay, another question. The distance between the moon and the earth varies during the moon's rotation around the earth. The distance between the moon and the earth varies during the moon's rotation around the earth. Surely the answer will be that because the moon rotates around the earth in oval orbit. لأن المون بيدور حوالين الأرض في مدار بيضاوي, فالمسافة بينه وبين الشمس مش ثابتة في كل الأوقات. The distance between the moon and the earth varies during the moon's rotation around the earth because the moon rotates around the earth in oval orbit. Another question. Type of solar eclipse differ according to the movement of the moon in front of the sun. Type of eclipse or type of solar eclipse differ according to the movement of the moon in front of the sun. Surely because type of eclipse depend on the presence of the earth in the area of umbra or penumbra or antumbra. Or I can say because type of eclipse depend on the position of the earth, in what area of shadow of the moon. Umbra, it will cause total eclipse. Penumbra, it will cause partial solar eclipse. Antumbra, it will cause annular solar eclipse. Okay, the last question, and we'll see a short video after this question. Total solar eclipse is formed when the moon rotates nearer to the earth. Total solar eclipse is formed when the moon rotates nearer to the earth. Surely it will be because total solar eclipse is formed in the area of umbra. In the area of umbra. So now we'll see a short video to know how this phenomena occurs or how this phenomena happens. Okay, now we'll see a short video or about 2 short videos of what are the type of solar eclipse, what are the reasons of solar eclipse, and why this phenomena occurs in some days and why it doesn't occur in the other days, and what are the reasons of this phenomena. So let us see this short video. Okay, here I can see in this short video. Okay, here I can see the type of eclipses or the total solar eclipse. Here I can see the moon covers all the area of sun, so I cannot see the sun completely, so it will be the total solar eclipse. Okay, here I can see only the lighted ring of the sun, so it will be the annular solar eclipse. Here I can see a part of the air of the sun only. شوف مع بعض من تاني. I can see only a part of the sun. Here is a part of the sun, so it will be the partial solar eclipse. The partial solar eclipse. Okay, so we have 3 types of solar eclipse, which are total, partial, and annular eclipse that occur or depend on the position of the sun, or the position, sorry, of the earth according to the shadow of the moon. Here I can see a part of the sun only, so it will be partial solar eclipse. Okay, here I can see also a partial solar eclipse, كسوف شمس جزئي, because I can see a part of the sun, or because the moon covers only a part of the sun. So here the areas which I explained before, the umbra area, which is the total dark area, and the penumbra area, which is a faint outer shadow, Okay, so here I have a very important and interesting phenomena at the same time, which is the total or partial or annular solar eclipse. So now, by this point, I'm afraid I have reached the end of this episode, and inshallah we will talk about more in the solar eclipse, and more another phenomena which is also interesting, which is called lunar eclipse or khusuf al-qamar. And inshallah we will meet again in the next episode to explain more and more about those 2 interesting phenomena, which are solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. And now goodbye and see you soon.